We're the first out with the story that Mick Dempsey is leaving Kilkenny.
Yeah, not confirmed, but by all accounts, he is leaving, which severs a link. I suppose it's the longest serving inter-county selector that I can think of. Definitely in recent memory, because we haven't had a manager that has had that longevity. Like Mickey Hart is in Tyrone, obviously longer, but he hasn't had the same selector the whole way through. Mick Dempsey's been there since 2005. I think he moved to Kilkenny in 2002 or 2003, was involved in a couple of county title winning sides. Was
Nine. He won nine with St. Joseph's.
Won nine with St. Joseph's, and I was obviously played for Laois for 20 years, was Laois football manager, came to Kilkenny, was involved in two, I think, intermediate championship winning sides, was brought in by Martin Fogarty and was involved in either one or two under 21 titles in 03-04. Cody brought him in. I think the big learning experience that they all said that Mick had was in 05 when John Tennyson was kind of left hung out to dry on Niall Healy, and he got the hat-trick of goals. And basically that up until the 16 final, that never happened again. And Kilkenny were so tight, and it was on about when you're talking about the influence that Dempsey had. Kilkenny were probably in a way like a football team. They adopted a lot of football principles, as in they were so big and robust. Number one, he was obviously behind the strength and conditioning. Nobody could stop him. Like there was a time there, Cody was going for over 6 foot plus lads nearly everywhere, and they were just bursting through.
And isn't he like up there at the head of sports science in Carlow?
Yeah.
You're not dealing with a fool in Mick.
Definitely not. And he's like he's obviously involved with DJ the last few years for the Fitzgibbon. I think he's the Sigerson manager. He's developed that college into somewhere now where people want to go to college. He obviously, the half forwards coming down the line, as we see Limerick lads doing now, particularly Hegarty and Tom Morrissey, like they were doing that in Kilkenny 10 or 15 years ago.
While saying there was no tactics.
I
always thought that you know the way Alex Ferguson, he won his treble, and all of a sudden everyone said he's lost it tactically, and everyone looks back at that game when Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, scored the hat-trick at Old Trafford and all this kind of stuff, that he's mired in the 4-4-2 and he'll never develop. Carlos Queiroz, who came on, got involved, and that he was the sort of right-hand man that brought him up to the modern level tactically. And I always thought to myself that, you know the way everyone likens Cody and Alex Ferguson, that Mick Dempsey was the Carlos Queiroz.
That's a fair point, like, because they've been a little slower to evolve the last couple of years, but they always kept learning, and he always brought something different. Like, I think he used to spend a lot of time in the winter, same as kind of Donny Buckley, another kind of great coach. He'd spend it with a professional outfit, be it in Melbourne or Sydney with the Swans or something like that. He was always learning, always bringing something a little different and to the equation. Now it severs that link with him and Kilkenny. You'd wonder who's going to come in there now.
I've heard word that, and obviously this isn't for the strength and conditioning end of things, but I've heard word that DJ Carey is going to step up with the seniors, and that Derek Ling is going to, Derek Ling been talked up with the under-20s anyway as manager since DJ left. That mightn't prove to be true, might be just a rumour, but it's just something I've heard. Yeah,
it would be interesting. Obviously DJ left the 20s in recent weeks, so that might make sense. But like, Mick Dempsey's involved in 8 All-Ireland winning teams. When he was with Kilkenny for those 16 seasons, 13 All-Ireland finals including replays. Like, it's phenomenal really. And just on about change, like, I don't know whether Mick Dempsey departed or whether they cut ties. I don't know.
It has to be confirmed.
It has to be confirmed. That is right. But after 01, when they were beaten, Cody shook things up a little. There was change in his backroom team. After 04, when Dempsey came in, he shook things up. After 13, he shook things up when McGarry and Ling came in, and Martin Fogarty left. And now, after being beaten in 2019, it looks like there's going to be significant change again. So it would kind of suggest that Cody, he's already in it for the long haul, but he's in it for a longer haul.
And it just goes back to Cody. Like, think of any of the All-Ireland final replays, 2012, 2014. He changes his team, and generally the opposition doesn't. They're like, well, we got fairly close with that team, let's go again. Anytime Cody's close and it doesn't happen, he changes it up and tries to find a new way to do it. So.
He does, yeah. And like, no one would have expected him to get to an All-Ireland final this year. And obviously TJ is going to be a year older, which I don't think really makes much of a difference. But all those other lads who've gotten experience this year that he's brought in and blooded, the likes of Adrian Mullen, Billy Ryan, lads that maybe we didn't expect to make such an impact so quickly, they're going to have another year under their belt. The strength and conditioning thing is an interesting one though, because a lot of the time, like, Mick Dempsey would have worked nearly with not every age group, but he definitely would have worked with 20s, 21s the whole way up, and they would have been ready. They would have had programs. They would have been ready when they came in for senior. So if he's gone now, it is a big change, and you could have somebody come in doing something completely different. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's going to be interesting. Just going to be interesting to see how it kind of plays out.